What's going on, y'all?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And guess what, guys? Happy Thursday.
Brother Empowerment Day.
Yep, it's definitely Brother Empowerment Day, and we actually are doing something pretty new.
Yeah, very, very new.
Very new?
Yeah, very, very new. Double time on y'all.
So we're really about to see how this thing is about to go. This is our first time. No, we did it before, but this is our first time going all the way live.
Yeah, wait a minute. Before we did the Instagram Live, Facebook Live was messing up.
Right.
Yeah.
But still,
yeah,
we did it before.
Yeah, you're right.
We're just a little rusty.
Yeah.
So we're not sure how this thing is going to go.
Yeah.
But what we're about to do is we're going live from two places tonight.
At one time.
Two places.
One time.
Two places?
One time. So that's why we're a little tardy, you know, we just getting the kinks out, you know?
Yeah, we definitely are trying to figure all of these things out. But happy Thursday to you guys. This is my favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
And if this is your first time tuning in to Brother Empowerment, the whole purpose of Brother Empowerment is to provide a platform to uplift brothers and encourage one another while combating some of the negative stereotypes associated with being a man and also man competition. While doing that, of course, we combat some of those offspring such as misogyny, sexual abuse, domestic violence, gender inequality, and so the list goes on, and of course rape culture and things that push those type of agendas. But the most important thing is this is not about bashing.
Not at all.
But this is about uplifting and looking at things from a different perspective. And so what I got to get used to, I'm going to tell you already, is looking at two screens trying to figure this thing out. We got Facebook and we got Instagram.
I'm not even paying attention to Instagram. It's going to be how it's going to be.
But it's cool, though, because we got our family and friends out in Texas. What's going on? James, make sure you tell the family hello. And then we got Steve, my cousin, out there. So things are going pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But first, how was your week, bro?
The week has been pretty interesting. Now, before the questions even come out, I know I do have to look a little crazy. I'm just go ahead and put it out there. The brother CG had a little procedure last week, so I'm a little bandaged up, I'm a little banged up, but I'm here, so, and recovering. So, you know, just getting that out the way. But other than that, the week has been pretty peaceful. Even with all the coronavirus stuff going on, it's been peaceful at home and at work. So I've just been really just going through the motions, man. I'm really glad this week is over. I'm glad the warm weather is upon us, even though I really can't really be frolicking around because of said stuff. But it's pretty good, man. This week has been pretty chill. I can say that much. It's been very chill. What about you, my brother?
What are these said stuff? I'm just joking. But y'all nosy because I'm nosy. But anyway, the whole purpose, well, my week has been, I'm not going to lie, it has been a little stressful. I was going to try to lie, but then I realized I don't lie well.
Let's say, lie.
Yeah, I really don't lie well. I had to deal with some things from a leadership perspective. And I guess the realization that this is an organization and it's people that are impacted and affected by it, that's hard.
Yeah.
It's real hard, y'all.
Yeah.
It's real hard, but it's things that need to be done. So the leadership team, we have been meeting, we have been discussing, we have been venting, we have been really just building and preparing for a better future, but it still doesn't take away those things.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So I will say this now. I do have a sad announcement to make. We decided to cancel our second annual Brother Empowerment, postpone our second annual Brother Empowerment Cookout. So it will not be March 22nd. We want to respect Governor Cooper's state of emergency call to respond to the corona virus strand 19. We want to make sure that we are doing what he has asked for us to do. And one of those things is to avoid mass gathering. Why you keep moving?
Sorry, bro.
To avoid mass gatherings or any type of social events. And mass gatherings is anything that is 100 or more. And we were expected to be right there. So I will be, coordinating, getting things together as soon as the extension lifts, which is expected to be March 31st. That's when we will decide what will be the most beneficial time to have that cookout. So I'm terribly sorry in advance because I was really looking forward to it. This was basically anticipating being even larger than last year. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. That's one of the principles, Ifaka, that we talk about. And I'm okay with this decision because it is allowing you guys to be safe so that we can gather again and have some good time.
Yep, most definitely.
Okay, so that's all I got to say about that. So we're gonna jump on into, guess what? The topics. And I'm not gonna go back and forth this time because it'll be so confusing trying to do all of these things. So going right into it, which seems to be right aligned with what we're talking about, all this hype around the coronavirus. But before we do that, bro, we got some people on. Uncle Marcus is on. What's going on, Uncle Marcus? Uncle? We got Lolita on, my beautiful wife. We got Rob on. What's going on, sir? We got Michelle on. What's going on, Terrence? He's talking about your.
What's up, Tadal?
We got Tashia on. What's going on? Hey, hey, hey. We got my Sora Latrenda on. Hey. My wife said, hey, y'all. Why does Cordell look like an ex-gangster? It's actually an ex-rapper. He was the 6th member from
Nothing.
NWA.
Nothing.
This guy with an attitude. Mom is on. What's going on,
hey,
Mama?
Mom Garnett.
Look, Wally is on. What's going on, sir?
What's up, man?
He's about peace. Mr. Sean is on.
What's up, Sean?
Brian is on. Chanel is on. Dot is on. What's going on, y'all? Y'all showing all the way out today.
That's what's up.
I love it when y'all people on. Okay, go ahead. So all this hype around the coronavirus, what do you think?
Even if you know, again, it's a virus. Things that are the flu is a virus. You know, the cold is a virus. Things that are viral just have to really just run their course. That being said, precautions are still very necessary. So even if you're of the mindset that it's just not as big as the media is making it out to be, I mean, there are still people that are affected by it. Businesses seem to think so. Major businesses seem to think that it's, you know, of course, an issue. So I think that the hype is warranted simply because it's all about safety at the end of the day. So to answer the question or to the topic at hand, yeah, the hype is warranted, and it'll be that way until the big movers and shakers feel that it isn't. You know, like you said, the quarantine, the extension is lifted, all that stuff is going into safety. So it's warranted. I think so. Even my job is instituting a work from home policy for most personnel. Like, we don't even do anything that has to do necessarily with the public. So, okay. Yeah.
I will say I don't know if it's warranted, but I will use it as an opportunity to get on my soapbox.
Yeah.
Excuse me as I mount my soapbox. So people are always talking about, you know, what one person do don't bother them. Like, I can eat what I want to eat and all of that. See, if the people went over there eating this anteater, talking about it's a delicatessen, this wouldn't even be a problem. A lot of times we're doing things we ain't supposed to do, and we think it don't affect people, but it do. Doing what you're not supposed to do affects people. Leave that anteater alone. That's why it's called an anteater. It's supposed to eat ants. And y'all sitting there eating that thing, talking about its scales have medicinal powers.
Qualities, yeah.
Well, they ain't working because now you done unleashed the coronavirus. I'm laughing, but I'm serious. See? Look, he got the corona hiccups. But I'm just saying. But listen, all jokes aside, though, we don't know because one thing that we do know, it is a virus that's been around. And if you're talking about the other ones was another strain, like the ones that was around in 2002, the ones that were around in 2004, this is just the 19th variation of it right now that we're dealing with. So that thing a little bit more powerful. You know, the more variations of it, the more strands that happen, it becomes more powerful. Right. And so we can sit there and be resistant to it or try to protest it, and y'all be falling out talking about y'all just got a little cough. Yeah. No, these things are serious, guys. And I'm like this. Tara said it, and I agree. She was like, man, if they shutting down the NBA,
yeah.
But I ain't gonna lie, I was most saddened by the fact they got Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson.
Yeah.
See, Tom Hanks is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
If y'all know, it's Tom Hanks and then it's Will Smith. Those are my two favorite actors. Mm-hmm. And you got Tom, they just messed with me. Yeah. Y'all better leave Tom alone. Done got Tom. He did nothing but brought us comedy and made us think about the way we look at male and want to grow up and be a big kid.
Yeah. Like NCAA, NCAA, MLB, NHL, it's all just
break. So if it's happening at that level, we do need to take signs of just precaution. And I definitely, speaking about being a business owner, looking at that, I don't want to have a gathering and it impacts,
anybody.
Not only you guys, but I'm talking about the organization. It just take it away. Mm-hmm. One of y'all gets sick at one of our functions, it could just take us away like that, man. And we're not trying to jeopardize you or us,
right?
And the longevity of what we're trying to do here. Yeah. So that's all I really have about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on, Marcella? Look at this. The Zetas are, I gotta do it, man.
Oh, man.
You know what? Blue fire! Yeah, I had to do it just one time. Look, I got my Zetas on.
Yeah.
Chanel is on. Marcella is on. Latrenda is on. I'm just sorry. And I know that was loud. It's supposed to be loud. I had to do it just one time. I had to do it just one time. Oh, shut up. Good. Now nothing is in there. The benefits of therapy and I'm about to say stigma, and the stigma that it's not manly to seek help.
Okay, so
see what had happened was
so I guess I'll start on this one too. So I have said it many times before here on the air and in conversation. I am an avid fan or avid fan and supporter and an avid partaker of therapy. I see a therapist usually weekly, and I've been going now for probably almost 2 years now. The benefits have been really incalculable, for real. It has helped me on my journey as a person, as a man, and as a potential, just father, romantic partner, all of that. Just my personal development has been, basically skyrocketed, past its, limits that I probably would have had if I was just tackling it on my own. There's definitely some things that I went through earlier in my life and then later on in my life that I needed some help with processing and really just deconstructing and really unpacking. So the benefits of therapy are just, it's just really indescribable, even though saying indescribable is really trying to describe it, but still, the benefits of therapy are just out of this world. And saying that it's not manly to go to therapy.
See, I ain't doing it.
Yep,
you did it. I ain't doing it. Y'all are trying to stay strong, but go ahead, get it out.
But no, the whole and not being manly go to therapy. I really think sadly enough, we still aren't past that. We really should be. It should not be tied to any kind. First of all, it shouldn't be tied to any kind of weakness to seek professional help for an area that could help you and also help others. Weakness should not be tied to that. Nor should it be deemed as less, quote unquote, masculine or manly to really help yourself. You are helping yourself and by extension helping others as well. So there's no problem with that. And so that's all I got to say about that, man. Brother Jay will probably have some way more eloquent words for that, but that's all I got to say.
My baby brother's on. What's going on, Mike? Shut up.
So, Mike.
Nichelle said that they're Durham Public Schools closed starting Monday, and they don't even tell us when they will be returning. So, good for Durham.
Yeah.
I don't know what Tashia is laughing at, and Isaiah's on. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Isaiah?
And then Wally said prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I actually would agree with that. And that's funny because our healthcare model actually changed in 2009 to that, to more prevention. Today I'm laughing at you with your corona hiccups.
Of course he is, because Because
he's growing. It was easy.
Yeah.
Chanel said, I was told that this virus was patented years ago. Not sure how true that is, though. Now, that may be so, but I don't know if it was this variation of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't even research it enough to even find out. So I might need to start looking into that. Tara just joined. What's going on?
What's up, Tara?
Mama said mine too. I guess we talking about Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to keep reading that because this is about to be horrible.
Yeah, Tara said, hey, good call. I guess she's talking about the postpone of the Brother Empowerment Cookout. Sean said, brother, this is supposed to be a safe zone. Stop throwing them gang signs up. No gang signs, sir. Just a rap tape.
No, he was talking about me.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Oh, you talk. The gangster got confused when you said gang signs. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We're just going to leave that alone. So, Tadal said, flu-like symptoms, though. Why weren't the gatherings stopped for the flu then? I mean, we really knew people who died in our hospitals from the flu, but we're just hearing about this supposedly deadly virus, and everyone is going crazy. I, for one, will not be partaking in any kind of BS, and that's that. Hey, bro. I understand that.
We got a whole business to worry about and a whole bunch of people, and we don't want the lawsuit.
Yeah, so we get that, bro. Rich Reek is on. He said, gentlemen, what's up, bro?
How are you doing, sir?
Felicia is on. Hey, Felicia. Derek Lane is on. He said, greets. Hello. And then, of course, Don Shell is on. She said, tardy. Yes, you are. What's all week? So it's all good.
I just really am saddened by the fact that she's on.
Oh, man.
What's going on, cyber cousin?
Here we go again.
You know I love my cyber cousin.
And so Rich Reek said, another way to help identify if you're infected is to take a deep breath and hold it in for 10 seconds. If you cough while holding your breath, maybe a sign to get checked.
I'm good.
I was going to say, we're really going to do that right now?
I did it. It was only 10 seconds and I did it. I was counting in my head.
Yeah.
So the other thing, can single mothers raise strong, balanced men?
That's a loaded question.
Very.
So what I can say is that I believe that a single mother can raise well, first off, to say the question, can they? I will say yes. The only thing I would say, one of the only things I would say about though is, what are we talking about when we say strong and balanced? What are we saying? So that would be that would be like the asterisk on my answer, because what are we saying is strong and balanced? Because already if she is rearing a boy who's going to become a man and there is no father figure there, father in place, that's already setting up some kind of imbalance unless you have a substitute or standard or whatnot. So I would say that's a very loaded question. And I want to say yes, but there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, we have seen single mothers do wonderful jobs with their sons, with nephews, with whoever. So I'm not going to say that it can't happen, but I think it's way more difficult than, I think it's difficult for sure. So.
I like how you basically said no, but you went all around that bush.
Sorry.
I'm just saying. Am I reading that wrong? Because I know somebody's going to call you out.
Yeah.
I'd rather be me first, because I was like, hold on. Yeah. What is he saying?
So let me just, okay, fine. No. Like the Tracy Morgan gift? No. He's in the car? No. Hell no. Not that much, but no, I don't think so.
I'm gonna disagree with you. You know why I'm gonna disagree with you? Because strong and balanced is relative,
right?
And a single mother may have raised a strong, balanced man in her eyes, but he's destruction,
right?
And someone else's. You know how it is. Look at Mama Little Monster.
Yep.
But I just think that I stay away from those conversations only because, one, it's a direct insult and slap in the face to those mothers who are doing the best they can with the cards that they were dealt, whether it was their decision or not, whether there were some other situations around that. So it is an insult, but also it's also telling a young man who has been brought up in a single family home that there is a high probability that you are not strong or balanced.
Right.
And so I just don't believe in predisposing people to conditional things that are relative anyway.
Yeah.
In my most weakened state, I have been told that I was strong. And some people say I give even the greatest advice when I'm going through pure hell myself.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I'm not feeling strong or I'm feeling weak, somebody else is saying that there is strength. And when we talk about imbalance, to be honest, to be extraordinary, to be awesome, is to be imbalanced. Mm-hmm. Every creative genius had some type of imbalance within them. And some people even dare to call some of them even mad or crazy.
Right.
So I just think that those type of questions predispose even more damaging type cultures and constructs that hinder someone, both the parent and the child, from being the best that they could possibly be and do the best that they could possibly do.
Yeah, no, that's Jay expounded on it way better than I would. So yeah,
you know what?
No, I'm just saying that. I mean, it's a loaded question. Strong and balanced, like Jay said, it is very much subjective. I mean, like you said, you can say that you are raising or that you have raised strong and balanced men or kids, and they could be literally, wheels, rolling wheels of hell. So it really, like I said, I do agree that it is, to even ask that question, it rolls into the realm of insult and of just really just placing stigma and stuff on people before the conversation even gets had. So yeah, I can agree with that for sure. And it is a question that, you have
some comments in there too.
Yeah, I'm about to read them right now.
And I think Cousin Donchelle, when you read hers, I will say something after that one.
Okay, so Donchelle said also, she said that was in 10 seconds, but okay, when you when you hold your breath.
We know you can't count.
James Mon said, "What's up, James, bro?
What's going on?"
Tadao said, to the question, of course they can. They do it all the time. Michelle said, "I sure hope so. I'm a single mother raising 2 young men." Felicia said, "Yes, a single mom is capable of raising strong, balanced men. Now I would prefer a man to step in, but that's my job and I have to do it." Donchelle said she agrees with me. Tara said, 2 parents have challenges of raising balanced children. There's no set rule for balance. True, very true. Terrence said, Tadao said, sometimes the father figure isn't the right role model for the young men to follow anyway. Very true. Chanel said, what does balance even mean? Yeah. And then Shell said, of course, Cordell Show just slapped me. I did not. I merely offered my opinion on the question. Felicia said, I'm doing a good job. I won't drop the ball. Donchelle said, I didn't think he was saying no. I think he's saying women have raised men, yes. However, there's some things women cannot teach a man, but that's where the village comes in, brothers, uncles, teachers, mentors, coaches, etc. Yes, that is actually exactly what I was saying. But
had to be her. She only agreed with you because it was against me. I just want to let you know she just used you. Division. Our bond is tight. Stop messing with this. Go ahead.
Shell said, just kidding. Christopher Neil Bailey said, hey to my brothers.
What's going on, Christopher?
And then Don Shell said she agrees with Tadao. And then Kim Rawls, hey Kim.
Hey Kim.
Said, in my opinion, children benefit from 2 mentally healthy parents. So balance is a bit ambiguous. However, I do believe male children benefit from a male figure who has a positive outlook on life itself from a male's perspective. All of those things are, valid inputs from all different avenues.
Yeah. I remember I had an uncle, matter of fact, he's dead now, but I had an uncle, and I remember one day sitting down, and he said something to me. Matter of fact, he was an uncle that we used to visit quite often. My aunt, he was married to my aunt.
Right.
And we used to visit them all the time, matter of fact, in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And so I remember one day just sitting at the table, and he said, yeah, the reason why I'm around you guys is because he basically implied that we would be soft or in jail because we don't have a father figure.
Right.
And I remember from that day instantly not liking that uncle anymore. I never told anybody else about it, but I remember in my mind, if you are around me for pity and you already see me as a criminal, then we're not family.
Right.
You already see me predisposed to something. Don't do something for me out of pity. Do something for me because you want to do it.
Right.
And that stayed with me. And I always said I will never be with someone or come around someone because I feel sorry for them. Yep. Now, if you see potential in a person, that's different. But we got to be careful when we say certain things like healthy imbalance, because unless you are quote unquote a clinician, you can't determine the health of anyone, because someone can be seemingly stable and they're not. And then I want to also address this, because I've been holding it. Because I've been told that sometimes I can get too specific. But that's the only way that I know how to be as a learner. I'm so tired of people using emasculinity erroneously. Emasculinity is actually the removal of a male part. And so the only way that you can emasculate someone is by moving male parts, i.e. castration. Right. What we attempt to say, or what we mean to say, is something maybe demasculating, which means that it doesn't appear to be of what is commonly known as manly qualities. Right. So you cannot be emasculated unless somebody's performed some type of operation. Right. The other thing is effeminate is associated with femininity, not associated with a male who may or may not be homosexual. So we gotta make sure we're using these terms right, because the reason why people are laughing at you is not out of anger and not trying to minimize what you're saying. A lot of times we're just really spewing ignorance. And so when we start saying things like a manly man or strong man, what does that imply? Are we talking about men that are masculine? Are we talking about men who can endure? What type of men are we? What are we trying to endure? Because I will tell you this every day, any man around the globe, especially men of color, we are strong because we survive.
Right, most definitely.
Every day we have to think about life strategically, as if any decision that we make could cause us our lives. So when you talk about somebody who may be a lowlife, the fact that a man has made it to be 35, 33, 40, even 50, that's phenomenal. Because you don't know, especially people when they try to speak, especially if you're not a black man, you do not know the struggles that a man of color, a black man goes through. We got to get an education to be accepted as the minimum. Yes, we have to get some type of credentials. I don't care what you say, even it's going to be a trade, that's a credential. Either it's a licensure, that's a credential. It's a degree, that's a credential. You're going to have to get something to say that you are even adequate enough to have a conversation with. Not get the job now. Just adequate enough to have a conversation with, to be deemed civilized as a human. And then you have to deal with the different things where you are seen first by your measure of masculinity versus your measure of humanity. Come on, we had, what's the name? Who was on the show that we got that from?
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
It escapes me right now. My yoga sister, but it escapes me. Malika.
Yep.
When Malika came on, and she got it. It was a sister who got it, who understood that we are equipping men for masculinity, but not equipping them for humanity. Yeah. We tell them that we want emotion, but at the same time, when they show emotion, you criminalize them or demoralize them for having emotion. Right. Saying the fact that somebody may be crazy or unstable, we are already saying that. Why nobody are asking the same questions about women when they're saying they don't do that? You know why they don't do that? It's because there are things in place for women. You want to know why mental health looks the way that it looks and why men don't consider it manly? Because for years, there are only two institutions that offer mental health for men, and that was the hospital and the correctional system. So either I got to do something real bad, go to jail, get locked up, and I get the mental health treatment. Or if I go and get mental health treatment, I have to have something else wrong with me that used to follow a person's record. Yeah. That's why it's not because men woke up one day and said, no, I ain't doing that. No, men have had to be forced to deal with their mental issues, because if they didn't, they would get some type of record, and they still got a stigma.
On top of another one.
So the last thing we need to do is have ignorant conversations about what is effeminate, emasculate, and demasculate. when we're already demoralized enough. We need to get to that place where we start researching. We're in the day of Google and people still don't Google stuff.
The age of information, all kinds of ignorance out there.
So when we start having these discussions, the discussions are deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's really deeper than that. It's not just men sitting there saying, I don't want to go, or that's soft. I can't afford the risk to get my mental health taken care of without a stigma, and that's been for years. If you study the history of it, I actually did my thesis for my master's degree on reverse discrimination, misandrianism of men in the mental health institution. My master's degree is in health services administration, and that's what I did. And with the state of South Carolina, there were only two facilities that offered men mental health facility that was exclusive for men outside of the confines of the correctional system and outside of the confines of any type of hospital. Only two. And I got my master's degree in 2004. So I just want to let you know how recent that was. So a lot of our daddies, a lot of our granddaddies, a lot of our uncles, they didn't have these opportunities that were afforded to not only other people, but also our female counterparts. So when you want to talk about the advancement, yes, there is an advancement. No, I'm not. We talk about it all the time, how this is not a safe place for women. But you know why it's not a safe place for women? Because we were giving them the mental health treatment. We provide safe places for the women to go. There's not a safe place for men to go. That's why we're trying to create it. And that's why brother empowerment is constantly under attack. Because they're not used to it. They're used to trying to figure it out on their own. But we don't have those conversations. We want to sit here and argue about stupid stuff and use words erroneously.
Ooh,
you got some comments?
Man, I guess a whole bunch of comments, Jay. Man, you said 18,000 mouthfuls. Can we just,
shut up.
We done, man.
Shut up.
Show over. Show is over. He has dropped the mic and thrown it through the window.
Shut up. Go, because we got people on this.
Right.
Y'all, I don't know how to use this Instagram. Y'all just saying it, so I can't even comment to this because I need to figure it out.
Was a whole bunch of people singing your praises. Tashia said he's preaching now. Yes, don't remove the male part, please. Wally said he don't think that's what your uncle meant. Chanel said, speak your truth, frat. There's no your. It's just, never mind.
What uncle?
No, well, no. Chanel said, speak your truth.
No, why did you say you don't think that's what your uncle meant?
Yeah, I think he was talking about what your uncle was talking about, having a conversation with you guys.
It don't matter what he meant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's what he transmitted.
Right, exactly. So Chanel was clapping. Chanel said kings. Chanel said they out to get us. Much more. Kim said no resources for men. Yes. Tara said come through, masters. And then Cheryl was saying in the entire state, there's only two. She was bewildered at that. Christopher Neil Bailey said pass the plate and say the benediction. Y'all
are crazy, all of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna leave that alone because we're gonna leave that alone. What conversation are men having with their sons dealing with law enforcement? Ooh.
Oh,
guys, please chime in. You guys who have sons.
Yeah, Kerwin is on. What's up, Kerwin, man?
What's going on, Kerwin?
The hour. I will say I do not have any children, so I don't have sons. What I will say is that as a young man, my mother, both my parents sat me down and told me how to conduct myself on a few occasions in the presence of law enforcement, as far as following directions, answering questions clearly, concisely, and slowly, and also making sure that I had all the proper identification necessary, especially when I started driving and I started going out late. So those conversations are heavy, and I don't think those conversations are ever, to me, in my opinion, there's nothing positive about those conversations. Those conversations are are conversations where the prevention is the goal, and the minimalization of harm. That's really all I can say about that.
Yeah, and I'm the father of daughters. The only thing that I can do is talk to, trying to think. I have two brothers that have sons. And so the only thing that we talk about with them is I want them to be, and my brother's on and he may chime in, when dealing with our sons, I actually show them how to be emotional at home. Mm-hmm. so that they can find that balance in the community. That's one of the things, because I feel like, I talked about this before, one of the things that saddened me the most about Trayvon Martin was the fact that he felt like he was a man and he had to defend himself versus being able to run home to dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I want us as fathers to instill in our sons. Trayvon was a baby. I'm sorry, 17 is a baby, man. And yeah, it's a baby. It is. I don't care what y'all say. It's a baby. Something is wrong when we have our babies feeling like they have to be men early, and they can't run to their parents in their time of need. That's alarming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I talk about the most with my brothers is making sure that they can allow their sons to express themselves at home so they can feel safe. And whenever, we don't do that, stop that crying, you a man. No, get that junk out, because guess what? The world gonna beat them up anyway.
Yeah.
We don't need to beat them up. You talking about you gonna prepare him for the world, guess what? The whooping that the world put on you, nobody could prepare for it.
Yeah.
My mom and my older brothers told me the world was hard, but guess what? I wasn't prepared for it. I don't care what you say, no matter how hard you try to prepare somebody for this, because guess what? There is no mental health. As much as you talk about mental health, there is absolutely no mental health treatment for racism. There's none. So when you show me a couch that somebody can lay on and say, I'm really dealing with this racism and I need to know what to do with it. No, it's nowhere.
Yeah.
And so that's the hardest part, because it's like, how do you prepare somebody for a world that's not prepared to love them?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's going to mistreat them for no reason.
And the last thing they got is home should be their refuge. Home should be the place where they're safe.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
So I say, instead of preparing them for law enforcement, prepare them to express themselves. Y'all talked about balance earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you expect a person to achieve balance if he has no relationship with it whatsoever?
Yeah.
Allow them to express themselves and then work that through and tell them how to deal with that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree, bro. Let's see. Wally said my do-rag is on wrong. It's not do-rag, sir. It's gauze covering up wounds and stuff. But thanks.
Why we light skin on Instagram? I just need to know this. Like, I don't even like skin. You like transparent.
Man, chill out.
All right.
Tashia said, speak black man, but you're scaring my white cousin. How can I say this nicely? I don't care.
Well, I posted that, you know what, the truth is petty.
Yeah.
And it really is, because these are the conversations that we need to have, but we don't have.
Yeah.
And it's a young man that's following us on Instagram, who's actually a tattoo artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the ones who said, I feel like it's my duty as a white man to speak out about the injustices that my black brothers and sisters face,
mm-hmm.
because I feel like I'm the one that can help end it.
Right.
And I couldn't agree more, because somebody gets it. Talking about racism isn't a hate thing.
Right.
Talking about racism isn't a bad thing. Talking about racism is something that we need to have the discussion. Talking about racism doesn't make more racist.
Nope. People doing plenty of that on their own without the conversation.
Yeah.
Christopher Bailey said, wow, it's a hard conversation. I told him to remain calm, maintain your emotions, no quick movements that prompt a response. And basically said, son, just think about getting back home. And that is, as a son hearing that, and I know when I have sons, preparing my children, and hopefully the climate has changed by the time I do have children, or even before, preparing your son, to survive the encounter, just hearing that, it's probably one of the scariest things I ever heard in my life. And that is just the reality of the situation.
Right.
So while he said, I teach my boys that they are outgunned when they encounter police, so complying is your best defense. Cornelia said, my son is 26. He knows he can still be emotionally real with me. Mom Garnett said, preach. Kim said, yes, no one can prepare our children for the world. Be a parent first. Michelle said, that's right, because as big as Malachi is, that's my baby. He'll be 16 this year. The thought of him leaving home one day and not coming back is terrifying. Christopher said, we talk all the time. no judgment in our conversations. I'm honest with him and share with him everything so that he feels like he can talk to me about everything. Tashia said, great handle tonight, guys. And Wally said, still on wrong. And I still don't like his thoughts. Let's start the next one. Man.
The next one is, if I support women, how does that add value to me as a man?
Well, man, that was Cornelius' question. I remember that one. So
just call him out on his question.
Yeah. We do everybody else. He's no different. So and that's a very loaded question. So first I'll tackle it this way. Supporting other people just in general, especially if you believe in them and you generally, you love people, and you just supporting other people, I think adds value to your life just in general. So from that standpoint, I'll start there. Supporting other people, just simply because not only can you make more connections and enrich yourself, but there's nothing wrong with supporting other people that you believe in. There's nothing that can be wrong with just supporting someone. And I don't mean as far as giving money or anything. I mean just literally just supporting. So support comes in a variety of ways. To answer the question about how it can enrich your life or how can it be, add value to your life as a man, is that when you support women, you're not only supporting the community, but you're also supporting yourself, because women support us. Some of the biggest supporters we have here at Brother Empowerment are women.
Preach.
Some of our biggest audience, for a large part of our audience is women. Preach. So why would we not, how did that not add value? They have sons and nephews and brothers and husbands and all that who we are creating a safe space for. So again, in supporting women, we are supporting one another, we are supporting the community, and we are therefore adding value to everybody, to everything, including our lives as men.
Preach.
That's really all I got for right now.
Yeah, that you just came out of there. Just came out, rah, like a dungeon dragon. But I would say this: when your support adds value, it adds value. Because I agree with you. I think a lot of people call themselves supporting, but are you giving valuable support is the question.
Right.
And valuable support is something that is measurable. You doing a like or a share is not really valuable support. But you bringing business to that sister, you help making that life better. I feel better when I add value.
Right.
And then when I add value, guess what I get? A multiplied added value unto me. So I can sit there all day long and say, for instance, y'all know I love my big sister. I can say Tara's spot is the dopest spot all day long. Mm-hmm. I can like all of her stuff on social media, but if I don't bring her any customers, my support means nothing, and it's not adding value to her life, which will in turn add value to her 2 sons and her daughter and her husband. So when your support adds value, it adds value. That's how I feel about the situation. And anybody will tell you, like, if you connect with Love is a Parable, I tell you, don't come here trying to promote Love is a Parable and put your business to the side. Mm-hmm. No. Your business is just as important. If somebody, you as an individual might grab the attention of somebody else. Yeah. So, all that, nothing wrong with supporting. So Sean said, I spoke and continue to speak to my sons about how to move in this world. I told them almost all of my mistakes that I have made trying to be a man in this world. I preached honesty at home. I made home a safe haven for them. I told them that when they are in the streets, they need to understand that they are judged before they are even spoken to. Yep. But know who you are and respect yourself first and foremost. Stand in your truth when you are right and own up when you are wrong. Tara said, it's not support if the value is sought. Tashia said, you guys are aggressive tonight. I like it. Tara also said, Jay, we vibing. Kim said, genuine support from a man to a woman definitely contributes to a more positive emotional. Kim Ross. Okay. She said, genuine support from a man to a woman definitely contributes to a more positive emotional / mental climate in regards to our community as a whole. Yeah, I think that is also a very good point. I think that, some brothers, for whatever reason, have just
an aversion to supporting women, whether it be, depending on what the actual cause is or whatnot, because it might be because they feel like it's going to take away from them, or it's going to, or they're not going to be standing solidarity with their brothers. And that's the thing, is that you can still support someone and still have your own views and still have your own platform, your own everything, and still support someone. You can still bring something, bring value to, like Jay said, bring value to, have your support, bring value, and just be a supportive person. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't take away from you or what you're doing, because again, balance. Things can be together or true at the same time. We can all be doing what we're supposed to be doing at the same time. Yep.
And not ripping somebody else down.
Right.
That's it for that?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. What's the next question? The next question is how being vulnerable can change lives.
How being vulnerable can change lives.
How being vulnerable to the correct people.
Yeah.
Or people who can handle your vulnerability can save lives. But I tell you now, being vulnerable to the people that can't handle your vulnerability will destroy lives. We definitely have to create. We need to be who we say we are. How about that? I was trying to find another way to say it. I think that a lot of people are hypocritical in nature. I think a lot of people who say that they're open-minded, I always say this, you can tell how open-minded a person is as soon as they say that they're open-minded. Because a person is only open-minded to what they perceive to be liberal and open.
Right.
So if anything falls outside of that, a lot of times they're not really open to that, or they're passing judgment to that. I think if you are in a capacity to help, I think you need to help. I think that a lot of times we judge people based off of the package. A lot of the things that we say, we don't really do. And I think that we need to start living a life of integrity. And once you live a life of integrity, you can be vulnerable to people. And when you're vulnerable to people, when people are vulnerable to you, y'all have a trusted relationship. But right now, it's like we're trying to get a one-up on you. Like, oh, Cordell, you tell me something, I'm not going to tell you everything. So if you have a trip, I'm going to tell all of your business, because that's what y'all do. You'll be surprised. There's so many broken people that come into my inbox and they will tell you. There's so many people that I have met with privately. But they're ashamed to be who they are publicly, because guess what? They can't be real with y'all. And some of them, they'll say that these are my closest friends, but they can't even talk to their closest friends. So how is that really your closest friends? And that's because a lot of people are living hypocritical lives. And we don't know how to deal with people's vulnerability. Yes, you can have an issue, but that issue isn't your identity, and you don't have to subscribe to that issue. And so some people will pass judgment and say, Jay, how could you associate with that person? Because I don't see the issue, I see the person. And so you got to be trustworthy. You can't tell somebody to be vulnerable to you and you're not going to be vulnerable to them.
Man, and to chime into that, man, one of the biggest things that people say often, and I don't think some people even catch themselves when they're saying it. Well, if you're going to sit around and tell somebody that, or tell people that you don't trust anybody or anything like that, I automatically am just going to step away from that, because to say that you don't trust anyone, but then to want people to be vulnerable, to be trustworthy of you, or vulnerable with you, and to put trust in you, is the epitome of hypocritical.
Yeah, but also that's because people don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Well, when most people say that they don't trust anybody, they do long to have someone that they can trust.
Right.
And what they're saying is, more importantly, is that they don't trust themselves, because they have allowed themselves to trust people who mismanage their trust. So a lot of people actually do trust, and they are trustworthy. They're just afraid of being mishandled.
Right. Most definitely. I just had to put that out there. That is, I mean, I don't say it's a popular thing to say, but it's a thing I've heard one too many times, and it always raises a red flag. Like, wait, what?
Well, I guess for me, it looks, I actually am drawn to those type of people, because I'm like, hey, you lying, you need a hug, come here. Come here, you little Corona. But,
that makes sense. Couple comments.
Before you do that, I will say this, guys. With being vulnerable, mismanagement will happen, guys.
Most definitely.
Because you got to think, a lot of times, just like there's a such thing as called new manager mistakes, the same thing happens with your vulnerability with other people, because it may be their first time being exposed to you. And some people just may be immature at handling certain things. That's why you have some people who are prepared for leadership. That's why you have some people who are better with administration, some people who are better with management, some people with direct services. It depends on the person. And so just because mismanagement happens, that doesn't mean the intent was to be mismanaged. And sometimes we got to get out of that fight or flight type mentality, and sometimes think about the fact that there have been things that you've mismanaged.
Yeah, everyone experiences that in life. You're not the first person to be mismanaged, mishandled. You're not the first person to be, for lack of a better word, burned. You are not the first, and you won't be the last. So it happens, unfortunately. It's part of life, and it's also a learning experience.
And brokenness is okay, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay to be in a broken state. Do you know in some places, I want to say in Asian culture, that one of the things whenever something is broken, they actually will send it back together with something that is even more expensive, like gold or with like jewels, because now they feel like that broken part of it is what gives that thing its identity and its individuality. And like you, your brokenness is not what makes you unbalanced or destructive. It's being open and not healing. Because when you have an open wound that should be covered, you expose yourself to the elements. And so when you expose yourself to the elements, you become those elements, even the elements that you hate. So sometimes you just need to cover your brokenness so you can heal, and then you have a beautiful scar that will have a whole story. Because sometimes the brokenness adds content to your story that's going to help somebody else, and that somebody else will be you, who will continue to help somebody else. So don't look at the brokenness, don't look at the damage as the end all. Look at it as a continuation. But you determine if it's going to be a sequel or if it's going to be a saga. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
oh man, that was. Whew. Kim Rawls said, "Faith without works is dead. You can believe in my."
She done started preaching.
He said, "Faith without works is dead."
Ha ha ha! That's what you're supposed to do after that. Shut up! Ha ha ha! That's how you gotta do. You gotta do it like that.
I'm gonna let you do
Rock back. Hey.
I'm gonna let you do all of that. She said, "You can believe in my dream all you want, but putting that energy / action behind is solidify your stance as a man." Sorry, I couldn't. Yeah, I was like, "What is she?" Never mind.
Got it.
But yeah, no, we agree.
We agree.
My homie Keon is on. Devontae Wright, what's up, man? What's going on? She said, "Solidifies your stance as a man." She clarified. Tara said, "They at weird points shift support to entitlement earned." Ooh.
Say that one more time.
Tara said, "They at weird points shift support to entitlement earned."
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, me and Tara talk about that a lot of times. Like, a lot of people think just because we close that we don't handle business. Like, we legit have business meetings, and we have to sit down there and be like, "I love you, but what's this gonna do?"
Right.
And so we always laugh because people assume like she gives us things for like just flat out free. And we be like, yeah. Tara don't really give nobody anything free.
Ain't nothing for the FRE over here. It's all for the fee.
It's like, she from Jersey, and it come out quick when you play with her coins.
Yeah. Nobody has time to play like that. So, but yeah, Marcella said, "I support the LGBTQ community to the fullest, but I'm not a part of that community." Christopher Bailey said, "Mouthful." I'm not sure what he was speaking about. Marcella said, "MFs are scared, period. When I'm myself, people are always judging me and trying to manage me."
I didn't.
Yeah, me neither.
We went on and had margaritas.
Michelle said, "That's why you making me cry, Jay." Jason Mahoney's on. What's up, Jason? Which I think she's talking about earlier.
Oh, what's up, Jay?
Brokenness.
Oh.
Jason said, "Scars will help tell your story." Yeah, like tattoos. And then Tashia said, "Y'all look so clean on Instagram. Your skin is flawless over there."
I said light skin. I'm light skinned. Whatever. Okay, we got time for one more, my brother.
Yes, we do. One more.
Can men learn from their deadbeat dads?
Yes. You can learn from. Unfortunately, you can learn from anybody. Whether what you learn is good, bad, or otherwise is the question. But yes, you can. For those who, some people may not know, but the person that I called dad is not my biological father. My biological father was not there for the most part of my life. As a matter of fact, I just met him 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That was good. That was a huge step.
Yeah, it was. It was a huge step. So I have had that experience, and I learned quite a bit from him not being there. So to answer that question plainly, yes, you can learn a lot from a deadbeat dad. And like I said, it could be good, bad, and or otherwise, or all of the above, but you can.
Yep, similar story. My dad, my biological father, was an amazing dad up until I was 6 when him and my mom decided to get a divorce. And I remember trying to chase a relationship with my dad all of my rest of my young age, all the way up to teenage. And it was my dad, who I call my dad now, took me in when I was 17, turning 18 years old. That's who I consider my dad. But it was one day that I remember when I was 29 years old. Leilani was just born, my oldest. And I said, I just realized, it kicked in. It was like, if I do everything that my dad didn't do, I might be all right. And when I applied that, I realized that my biological dad was an exceptional father. He sacrificed fatherhood to show me what a great father should be. He's a savior of fatherhood. And I'm grateful for that. I really am. I'm not even trying to be sarcastic. When I did that, it's like healing went all over my body. And after that, not only was I able to forgive him, I was able to let him go. I was like, oh, and then he didn't even want to be a dad. He had a right not to father me. And I have a right because he denounced the sonship, not me. And I'm grateful for that. I am grateful. My kids got their Papa Lulu and their Nana. You know what I'm saying? So things just work out the way they're supposed to work out. So yes, my deadbeat of a dad was amazing. Daddy-o.
Yeah. So
what we got? We can go and knock this one out.
If you want to, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this. Ready?
Yeah.
What does one do with their emotions, trauma, sympathy, empathy, and energy whilst they await facts? What source determines one side in the human experience? At what point does one decide who they actually are, if ever? Backstory, that came from Tara. I left her name on there by accident, but that came from Tara, and I can tell you that was in conjunction to the recent event with the young man who was shot. The 26-year-old was shot, and the civil uproar that took place. For many of you, I mean, I'm transparent as all get out. One of our Brother Empowerment collaborators who's been with us from the beginning, that protest was led by Kerwin Pittman, who is the CEO and founder of the Recidivism Reduction Education Program Services, which is REP for short. And one of the things that, and I posted, it was a picture that he had, because he always tagged us in everything. And one of the pictures, all I did was took one of the pictures that Kerwin tagged me in and just turned it black and white. And I was saying, you know, is this 1960? No, it was 2020. And what we're dealing with is a time where history is repeating itself. It's just in color right now. And so what I did, along with some other people attached to Love is a Parable, tagged organizations, not for them to take sides, no, but for people to realize there are services out there to help deal not only with the effect of that trauma, but the overall big picture. Love is a Parable's perspective. I put a disclaimer out there, and I'll say it again. Love is a Parable does not assume any political stance or religious affiliation. We're not about sides, but what we will do is point out that the result of the incident still at hand was a result of a love deficiency. That's our point. love deficiency was in the place, and we want to jump to sides, and that frustrates me because people don't realize love is absent.
Mm-hmm.
Love is absent, and this is the thing. How is it that we're taught conflict resolution, but we can't resolute conflict in real life? So we have to get to a point where we talk about love. So that's why people don't understand what we talk about. I talked to somebody who was in the class, and one of the things that they said was, oh, I thought love is a parable was just going to be talking about love, but once I got in the when I got in the class, I realized this was something bigger. Mm-hmm. Yeah, please do not assume you know what love is a parable is talking about. Please do not assume you understand what we're talking about. Please do not assume that you know what perspective or angle we're coming from for anything, because what we are advocates of love. Yeah. And when we see that there is a love deficiency, we're going to address that. So I guess we hit that hour mark.
Facebook and Instagram said you got an hour and that's it.
They said we are done with you people. Yeah. You are at your hour mark. So one of the things that we were want to go ahead and say, and I was going to finish, is that we're never on the side of who's right or wrong. We're on the side of love deficiency. And one of the things that we're going to constantly advocate for is anytime that we see that love is in the lack, or we see that there is a lack of love. So we're going to speak out about that, and we're going to always do that. One of the things that we would encourage you guys to do is invite Love is a Parable out. We can give you a quick overview about what we are about. You can call, you can meet one of the leadership teams, or you can sign up for one of the classes, and we can tell you what we are truly about. Once you take the class, I guarantee you, you won't make the assumption that we're just talking about one thing. Because you realize that the modern definition of love is the reason why we have so much division right now. Yep. The modern definition of love is why there are so many problems that are constantly happening across the world. The modern definition of love is actually teaching division. Yep. It's actually teaching you to hate. It's actually teaching you to compete. It's actually teaching you to separate. But y'all don't get that. And so that's why you have to be careful with assuming you know what Love is a Parable is addressing and or speaking about. Yes. So when we post things, we're posting things from a love lens, a love perspective, and from a love consciousness, and being intentional lovers. And so therefore we are advocating for the need to reconcile, to become one through love. Mm-hmm. Not the modern definition of love. We actually have a working definition of love that has been studied. So when people want to ask that, hey, well, what makes you qualified? Because I got a degree. Yep, I got a degree. I studied people. I worked in higher ed. I worked in behavioral health. My wife worked in behavioral health. My wife has degrees. And we've been studying this thing. This is not something that we just said, aha, I'm going to speak on it one day. No, this has been years. What y'all don't know is our nonprofit has actually been around since 2004. But we didn't just launch it because we were spending time incubating and researching and studying. The other thing that you didn't know, Love is a Parable itself, we have actually been doing that for 3 years before we launched it. We're not just talking about stuff. We're not just doing stuff just haphazardly. We're not damaging people. We're trying to heal the world. We're just not sitting here talking about, oh, I love you, and passing out free hugs. Yeah. Because we realize before you can even get to a hug state, there's a love deficiency. Yes. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And so that's where it's coming from. So a lot of times we need to stop picking sides and look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we're still divided. The bigger picture, there's always bloodshed. The bigger picture, there's always an uproar. The bigger picture is, and for those who don't know, if you knew Kerwin, you'll know that what he really wants is a world where he's not really needed.
Like Superman.
He don't want to be needed. He don't want to be doing that stuff. That's not his heart.
Right.
But he feel like he has to fight. He feel like he is a martyr. He feel like he has to fight for what's overall right, and that's how we feel about overall love. But people who don't know, you make assumptions, you make blanket statements, and you show how ignorant you are. And the second thing is, most of our stuff and what we have is on loveisamparable.com.
And we're very accessible. And also, I will add too that if people really want to know as well, in that, for that particular incident, the brother Colonel Pittman on his page actually put out a video detailing everything he wanted to say in detail about the protest, the aftermath, the whole, the meat in between, all of that. So you don't have to wonder about anything. That brother is a very transparent, eloquent speaker, and he told everybody what they needed to know and more, actually. So just gotta put that out there.
And there are several, but in regardless of the outcome of that situation now, from a right or wrong perspective, there's still some people who are severely traumatized by the whole incident. And when I'm saying traumatized, because it's a reoccurring episode or reoccurring nightmare for them.
Right.
And we have to think about the reoccurrence of this and what this trauma is doing. We, as people of colors, have developed a great way of survival, and that is always finding a balance. They're going to balance, always trying to find a balance to be politically correct out of a need to survival, but it still doesn't take away the stress strain. And while we still, not only do most men of color die to gunshot wounds, black on black crime, for those who may want to mention that, has been on a continuous decline for the last 18 years, so almost 20 years. Black on black crime has been on a severe decline, so let's just stop bringing that part up. But however, to gun violence and other races, that it has continued to climb.
Right.
Additionally, one of the things that we do need to have more conversation around is that people are hurting.
Yep.
And we feel like we can't even have a simple conversation without arguing. I hear that there was a great conversation happening at one of the churches about it to help heal. So there are organizations that are out there that are helping heal. But I think that our particular organizations, the ones that we've tagged, I know that you guys are doing your part about having conversations. Like YM4C is always having a conversation with young men and the police officers in hopes to develop a more trusting relationship. So when a young man of color sees a cop, he doesn't feel like he needs to run.
Right.
So those type things are really helping. You have Kerwin, who's actually having a program that deals with those guys that have been recently locked up, who may have records to find a better quality of life so they don't return. He's trying to break that cycle. Like, hey, you made a mistake, but let's move forward. You got Teens Have a Voice Too, which is another initiative where he actually works with young students, introducing them to career choices or life choices early on, so that they can, by the time they reach adulthood, feel confident in the decisions that they're making, so that there won't be a gap or in the economical system or in their overall health where they continue to go. And then you got Love is a Parable, where you think we're talking about love, but we actually are talking about so much more. We're trying to heal. Right. We're talking about unity. We're talking about a lot of those things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. A lot of things that professionally for years we couldn't really address because of certain code of conduct. Well, now we can address those things. And so it's time to have those conversations. You have Office in Art, which is a creative wellness place. A lot of people think it's an art studio, but she also has an aligned, I want to say curriculum, but it really is a program that is helping people detox through creative outlets. So that's why we tag these organizations, because these are organizations we actually see and have partnered with and that are doing some awesome things. And I implore you to actually connect with them and see the great things that they're doing, guys.
Experience it.
Yeah, definitely experience it. Speaking of which, we got to do the Positive Brother shout out. Let's go and do it. I'm sorry that we went over, but Facebook said, get out of here. It's an hour. No.
Yeah.
But come on.
Facebook and Instagram. So first off and foremost, I will shout out my brother, Jay. Man, this right here, Bro, this one right here is probably, we've had a lot of good ones, actually. All of them have been good. But this one right here, man, I think this might just be the best one yet, brother. Like this one right here, man.
You think so?
Yeah, man. Man, we've had some excellent ones. This right here, though, takes the cake, in my opinion. But no, I'll definitely shout out to Brother Jay, man, just because even though we are, you know, connected at the brotherhood, the family level, I still, you know, learn a lot from this brother every day, directly, indirectly. I know people see me sharing his stuff, his quotables on my page on Facebook. I really do believe in this brother, and I really believe in what we're doing. And I love this guy. I love this dude. I love this guy. Loves that guy. You know, so I definitely shout out to Brother Jay, man, just because we're here every week doing what we are supposed to be doing, walking in our purpose. And there is really nothing more satisfying than that, aside from waking up on a Saturday morning to some fresh pound cake. Warm. Okay. Also, shout out to the brother Kerwin. It was kind of late when all that stuff happened with the incident. I did follow some of it before I passed out because of my medication.
We was in a meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but shout out to the brother Kerwin, because, like we said before, like the brother Jay said, he is fighting for a world that he's not that he doesn't need to be. That he's not needed, that he doesn't have to be 10 toes down when something goes down on the front lines. He is really fighting for that, and we believe in him as well. So shout out to the brother Kerwin, because he really is doing what he really is putting his foot down and really just doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's walking in his purpose, and he's not just talking. He doesn't just talk about it, he is about it. As a matter of fact, you see him being about it before you hear him talk about it. And that's all the time. So shout out to him. Shout out to all the brothers that are on live. Uncle Marcus, Rich Reek, Robert, Tadal, Rick, all you brothers, Brian, Christopher, Jason, Isaiah. Shout out to all you brothers who not only support, but also come and also pour into the organization as well, and also experience the love and help carry out the message as well. Shout out to all of you brothers, because you are positive brothers. That's what I got.
Yep. And I definitely want to shout you out, bro. June will be 3 years of Love is a Parable being here, but 3 years of us also knowing each other.
Yeah.
So, brother, it's been amazing. So I thank you. I love you. It feels like it's longer than that. But yeah, Brian, thank you for coming in when you did to help me with my gift, my tool, my skills, all of that, bro. I really do appreciate the conversations, the bantering, the going back and forth. Kerwin, I already told you I love you. I fussed at him like a little dad today. I'm sorry, Kerwin. I just want you to be safe.
Oh, yeah.
Take care of yourself now.
We really do, brother, for real.
Just take care of yourself. Yeah. I want to give another shout out to Troy. Him and I had a conversation yesterday as well. I appreciate that, brother. Cornelius, we had a conversation yesterday. So I definitely appreciate you, and I appreciate you being able to come to me. And I appreciate you having a conversation with me that may have been a little bit difficult or challenging. I already talked about Brian. I talked about Anthony Vickers. I really appreciate that dude. All of my brothers, Daryl, Vincent, Rodney, Tremel, Mike, Andre, Junior, I love you all. I appreciate you all, and I'm here for you all. Rick, I see that you're on. So guys, I just thank you. And one of the things that I always tell you guys to do, we talked about support earlier. Share our page, share our videos, share a lot of things with us, because we're trying to really help heal the world, so we don't have to have continuous tough conversations. Invite us out. Let's do an overview, sign up for the class. Let's do some training. Let's love and let's unite.
Right.
So you guys, it has been wonderful. We love you guys. And like we tell everybody, if you feel like that nobody else in this world loves you, well, at least you know two right here really do. And we thank you guys, both Facebook and Instagram. We did it.
Yeah. See y'all next week with my do-rag again.